everybody. This week in gaming, Oblivion rises from the ashes. Star Wars gets a brand new game, and we finally get a date for Ghost of Yotei. Oh, so excited, Derek.
I know.
This is the Nerd Cave Newz, everyone. I am your host, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and co-host, Derek Daniel. Derek, I have to know, when you heard the Ghost of Yotei news, how did you, like, what was the first thought in your mind?
My first thought, actually, I had two thoughts. My first thought was, yes, it is coming out this year. It is a thing. I'm so glad we waited on Shadows. And then the next thing was, I have to let Zach know.
Like, you popped on my alerts, and I was like, oh, okay, because I had saw it on Facebook, and I was like, this is not real. And I wish we would have bet on it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would have been able to.
Don't try and sucker me in, sir. Like,
I was pretty adamant that it was going to stay this year, and you're like, I think I might get pushed, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
I said, if it doesn't come out by summer, I think it'll get delayed. But hey, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So, Derek, let's move into our first section of the night, and let's talk about what you've been playing.
So, disclaimer: this week I haven't really played anything because of Easter being this weekend, and then this week, like, we had our store inventory today, and I've had to do 3 overnights leading up to it to get prepped and get everything counted, and or help get stuff counted, that kind of thing. But Easter, the weekend before, like Easter, I did play a little game that both of us were intrigued by called South of Midnight. I'm very early in the game. I'm only like maybe through chapter 2, but
okay,
it is good so far.
I've been playing it as well, so I'm curious. Curious your thoughts on this.
So from what I played, the combat is pretty straightforward. Like, it's nothing to write home about yet, but I did get to the mechanic where you get to like almost like rewind like certain areas, like it's like the puzzle solving element. And I thought that's where I'm thinking it's like, okay, now it's because the combat, like when you first get introduced to the enemies, like, they're intriguing, they have different styles or whatever, but like the way to beat them is pretty straightforward, pretty simplified. But this, as far as like a gameplay mechanic with the rewind for the puzzle solving, I think is going to be the most intriguing part going forward. But the story, like, I do like the main character. I think she will have some flair. I do like how they started off, like the way the game started off. Like, okay, starting off, and it's like, we got to get out of here. There's this big storm coming through, and then it's typical. She has a fight with her mom, but then she goes, like, she does what her mom asks, and it's like, because her mom's, both of them are pretty good, like their big thing is caring about other people. So they go to check on their neighbors, and then something happens, and it's like, dang, the typical, like, we don't know what happened to her mother. We assume she's still alive, but like the typical, like, the last thing I said to her was, or the last discussion we had was a fight, but the intrigue with like her father, because her the father's passed away, don't know from what yet, but we're seeing like this intrigue from their side of the family, because the mother, like, they would bring up the grandmother, and she's like, no,
we ain't dealing with her. We don't talk to Bunny.
We don't speak about her. And basically Hazel has to go, is forced to pretty much go to Bunny, and finds out some things, and then finds like a secret entrance. And I like it. I like how she says rich people in their secret hallways, So I'd like to know more of that story. Like, of course, I imagine we're going to figure out what happens with the dad, or what happened to the father. And then, like, I wonder if I doubt that's the last we see of the grandmother. I think she'll pop up later to explain more, be more of like a presence in the story. But I am intrigued for the supernatural element. I'm like, okay, how does this all play into how the story is progressing? Because you get these magical tools and in this ability to see strands, essentially, and I'm just like, okay, what is the overarching theme? And I do like the entrance, like where it's like a picture book, or like a storybook, like the way they introduce like each level. I do like that. I do like the feel of like the Deep South setting that they did have, and like some of the like the echoes that you've seen like in chapter 2. like some of like alludes to some of that. I'm like, okay, is this going to tie in with some of the history of the Deep South with what's like this entity that, or like these, like this otherworldly presence that's there?
Yeah, and I think her being like a weaver and everything, and bringing in, it's like the last weaver was someone that helped with like the Underground Railroad and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool to see, and like showing the places that's in, essentially it feels like it's like Louisiana, like around New Orleans.
Yeah, well, I mean, and even if you see it like the guy who's like strumming the banjo, it's like he's got a very like Bayou accent. So I'm thinking, yeah,
Mhm.
it feels like very Louisiana-esque.
Now I've been playing exclusively on my Steam Deck, which
Okay.
has been great. Actually, it's been
Hmm.
pretty easy to play. The combat, there are elements that get added to it, but
Hmm.
it doesn't really develop as much as I feel like it should.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people have said the same thing,
Hmm.
but it's still a good game. I feel like the traversal has one of the elements that I dislike a lot, and that is like the accuracy of like the jumps and the movements aren't completely there.
Yeah.
It feels kind of like
Especially like in the beginning, like where you have like the hazardous place, like when you think like, oh, I'm going to clear the jump, and then you fall, like you either stumble and just get there, or like you fall short. I'm like, this doesn't feel like that was an accurate jump, but okay.
yeah, it feels like Jedi Survivor, where
Facts.
it wasn't as like fine tuned as it should be. I love the style though. I think the style that they have there, and you can turn off the stop motion if you want to have it a little
Oh,
bit more fluid and everything. But I like the stop motion animation,
right.
the cell
Cell
shaded
shaded.
parts of it. I am like in chapter 8. I'm a good bit in there.
Oh wow.
I'm dealing with two-toed Sam at the moment.
Oh, the
Um,
crocodile that we saw from the preview.
yep.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in the story. And the characters that are around, and like it deals with a lot heavier stuff than I, was expecting, but I like that it's like a more mature story.
Hmm.
Um, and I was going to play it on stream, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because the language is is a
Yeah.
little it's a little up there, the rate of some things, but it's really good. And if you are looking for a more linear story based game, I think it's something to check out and enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, because like on the weekends, I'm like, oh, I want to get back into this. And I've been wanting to play Kingdom Come Deliverance, but I was like, I actually want to play South of Midnight just to
Yeah.
like experience the story, because I know that I'll have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 when I, get back
True.
to it and everything. But I just been really enjoying the game, and the music is great. Like you said, the
Yes.
storybook, like the drawing and everything. And I'm just excited to experience the world, because both of us have been excited for this game for a
Hmm.
while. So
So facts. So I'm really excited to get back into it now that this kind of calmed down. I'm going to try and find some time this weekend to play more of it, so that way I can get a little bit further into it. So hopefully open up some of those mechanics that you're talking about and experience more of what's going on in the story.
yeah, and I do like that if you explore a little bit more, you get more wisps, is what they
Oh
call
yeah,
them, like echoes or whatever.
your
Um,
upgrade currency.
yeah, and sometimes like if you go off like the beaten path and like get to a harder spot to get to, that actually rewards you pretty well with like 20 of them. Where most of the time it's like 5 or 10. So it's
Yeah,
like that little thing. It's like, oh, well, you worked really hard to get to this one, and you didn't have to. So we're gonna reward you, which I really like.
good.
Um, so escape. You're gonna have to wait on that one.
I know.
You're gonna have to wait on that one.
We
um,
can, we can't just we can't just bury the lead and do it right off the cuff. We have to have
yeah.
that anticipation.
Escape said, I've been playing a backyard soccer on PC, enjoying a childhood throwback.
Mm.
Nice. I know they've like came out with like all the backyard sports
Hmm.
games and everything. What's up, Mikey
What up?
and Amy? Hope y'all are doing well. Well, I know how well Amy is doing right now. I
Hopefully
also been
she's in the other
playing,
room.
yeah, I've been playing a ton of Arise as well. Um, dude, I'm so overpowered right now. I am so flipping overpowered in
So
that
you're
game.
anime accurate.
Very much so, dude. Like the power level that I'm fighting against is like 50,000 or so, and I'm like 200,000.
Jeez.
So it's quite hilarious to see like the power difference and everything, and like because you can bring a team and all of that, and I've literally stopped bringing a team and just bringing my shadows with me and literally just being more accurate to the story. And I'm just walking through everybody like nobody's business. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying it. But let's get into this week's gaming discussion. First up, Mario Kart World's new features have been shown and explained. So let's jump into that.
So they had their direct last week to go more into depth about what Mario Kart World is going to be bringing. So obviously launching on June 5th, which is when the Switch 2 is, it introduces several innovative features that expand upon the traditional kart racing experience. Some key features include the fact that players can explore a vast interconnected map, seamlessly transitioning between tracks and discovering hidden areas. The game introduces dash foods, which are consumables like burgers and sushi that provide speed boosts and unlock character outfits. Classic items return, some with new effects. For instance, the lightning item now triggers in-game rain. Ooh. Players can perform advanced maneuvers such as wall jumps and rail grinds. A new rewind function allows racers to retry missed stunts or explore alternate paths. The game supports up to 24 players online, featuring modes like Knockout Tour, where racers are eliminated at checkpoints, local split screen play with it, and a new game chat system enhance multiplayer experiences. With over 40 playable characters and unlockable costumes, players can personalize their racing experience. Mario Kart World aims to redefine the series with its open world design and new gameplay mechanics, offering both longtime and newcomers a fresh racing adventure. So, anything that sticks out to you with that one, Zach?
I like that they're adding, more items within there because we've had 8 for so long, and like we got used to the items that are in there. So having, oh, the rain does this, or you get burgers, or you do this, that, and the other, it's going to freshen it up a lot more, which I'm glad. And like I love 8, I love Ultimate, whatever you want to call it. But it's like, okay, we need some new blood in there. We need some new twists and turns just to be able to have more on that. With the wall jumps and like grinds and all the like, I think that's going to be, if it's done strategically, where it's like, oh, if you if you do like a wall grind or a wall run or a rail grind, and it actually like speeds you up, because like if you do like jumps in the regular, like in 8, you actually get a little bit of boost or something like that. So like it's like it rewards people that have like a more advanced like understanding of what the game is. So being able to do that, I think, is going to be cool. And 24 player online races is going to be insane, dude, because 12 is chaotic, especially if you're in the back of the pack. I can only imagine what 24 players is going to be like. It's going to be a freaking bloodbath.
Oh yeah, for sure. So and like you kind of alluded to it too. It's like some of these current existing power-ups that you get like will probably have different mechanics, or like different like with the lightning causing it to rain. I'm like, okay, that's probably going to affect the track. But I also like the kind of pseudo RPGs, like with like the consumables like giving you boosts and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, is it just going to be speed boost, or are they going to do other things like have you like, I could see one where your luck rate for getting like a quality item like on the spin, like when you hit the like increases, like, or your fact of getting the blue shell more often, or a shell more often. I wonder how deep that mechanic is going to go. But and again, this, people were wondering, is like, well, why are they doing 8 Deluxe? Like when they did 8 Deluxe initially when the Switch launched, people were like, okay, they're doing the ports because Wii U was an underwhelming disappointment. So it's like, but the games were great. So it's like, let's give these people a new chance to play these games they may have missed out on. But they just kept going with it and just doing like a year's worth of, or a year plus worth of DLC, extra DLC on it. And people were wondering, it's like, are you not doing another Mario Kart? But because of how expansive and different this one is, I think that's why we had to wait so long, is because, and maybe they were doing just a traditional Mario Kart, and then somewhere along the line someone said, what if we just open it up, like let you explore some of this? And I think they had to pretty much not go back to the drawing board, but see how they could figure that in and reconfigure. I'm not saying this is true, I'm just speculating it, by the way. But I could see why this took such, like, this skipped like a whole generation of consoles to do a new one, is because of how intricate they're making this game.
I could see that as being a possibility. I also think it's like, when you look at Tears of the Kingdom, you look at Breath of the Wild, and how loved those two games are within the Zelda franchise, and it's the first time you get that open world feel to that genre, or that franchise. It's like, okay, how can we incorporate that into Mario Kart? And then you look at, like Forza, is it Horizons or Motorsport that does this?
It's the Horizon series that does open.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we've got that. We've seen it done with Need for Speed as well, and I think Drive had it as, so there's all these other franchises that have done this, but it's like, okay, let's put our spin on it. How can we make this feel polished and Nintendo? And I think, the way they're doing that, and being able to do that with friends as well, I think they're doubling down on the co-op, not necessarily co-op, but the more like social play aspect of the Switch 2, because I feel like they've improved at that part of their offering. But I think it's, it's like, all right, we've really put a lot into this, and I think this game probably wouldn't have been able to run well on the Switch 1.
Correct. That part as well.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, Switch 1, you get, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and people, it became the best-selling racing game of all time just because they never put out anything else. And it's like,
well, and also they bundled it every holiday with the Switch.
Every holiday. So I think it's a strategic, pool, and it's like, okay, well, let's just put out these DLC packs and let's focus on the next one and make it killer, because this is going to be only, I think from now on we're only going to get one cart per console, you know. So and that's fine as long as they support it, which I think they will. And I'm sure we'll get like an island DLC down the road, like 6 months later, that has 3 or 4 different tracks added to it, and then they'll just keep adding different things to this that goes along with that exploration and everything.
Correct. So
yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't like the price tag, but I'm excited for it, and I know there's been a lot of issues with the pre-orders for the Switch 2 and everything. So
good luck out there, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on it, just because I'd rather put my money on the other things.
Mike's like, they Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they could, and Bo would be very, very happy if they did Diddy Kong Racing, because he loves that more than Mario Kart. Let's jump into some Star Wars news. Star Wars Zero Company has been revealed, and it's coming in 2026.
So let's watch the trailer first, and then we will get into the nitty gritty.
Like, seeing Lucasfilm games like feels so good.
It does.
But Respawn.
Oh yeah.
chopper just coming out of nowhere. We got us a jetty.
Mm.
And a Mando. The Jedi was actually the original look for Darth Vader, like in the concept art
Oh,
back in the day.
wow.
Like it's giving me XCOM, which I
Yeah.
love. Like I'm actually really excited about this
Yeah.
because I loved XCOM back in the day. Hopefully it's better than Midnight Suns.
Hopefully. I mean, Respawn is doing it, so
True.
so
So
um
take us through what all was revealed on this, Derek.
So, Star Wars Zero Company is an upcoming single-player turn-based tactics game set during the twilight of the Clone Wars. Developed by Bit Reactor in collaboration with Respawn and Lucasfilm, and published by Electronic Arts, the game is scheduled for release in 2026 on PC, PS5, and Series X and S. Some of the key features to look at is players assume the role of Hawks, a former Republic officer leading an elite squad known as Zero Company. The game features turn-based tactical combat where players undertake various operations and investigations across the galaxy. Between missions, players can develop a base of operations and gather intelligence through an informant network. Hawks is customizable in both appearance and character class. Players can recruit and manage a diverse squad composed of Star Wars characters from various classes and species. The game emphasizes meaningful outcomes based on player choices, offering a story-driven experience. Star Wars Zero Company aims to blend strategic gameplay with immersive storytelling, providing a fresh perspective within the Star Wars universe. And this is coming off the back of this past weekend. It was a busy weekend. We had Easter first and foremost. We had WrestleMania, and now we also had Star Wars Celebration, or at least one of them. It feels like every other month there's a Star Wars something going on.
Yeah.
But this one was like a big one, and this was the most intriguing that I wanted to bring to the table, like for you to watch, just because of one, like you said, you're an XCOM fan. When I saw it was turn-based, I'm like, oh, this is something that would be in Zach's wheelhouse, but it's also set during the twilight of the Clone Wars, which is, something that you and I have both, we both watched the Clone Wars animated show, both love that. So, this is just speaking volumes more. Like this is screaming old school Star Wars, like what Star Wars used to be before Disney Plus to Zach.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like we're in Dave Filoni's like playhouse, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like we get to live in that part of the universe. This is exciting to me. The building the base out and everything, very XCOM, which I'm super excited. I like that we're getting to actually build out who Hawks is, your main character. And then picking the class, that way you're not stuck with something. I'm wondering if we're going to deal with a permadeath kind of
that's a good question.
system and everything, because most of the time with like XCOM or games like that, you deal with a permadeath system, which makes the stakes a lot higher. You definitely want to like be cautious and think through things. You don't want to be too bombastic and lose somebody. But I remember I was playing XCOM 1 and I had this sniper from the beginning, and I'm like 30 hours in, and I made the wrong decision. I got a little over and my sniper got killed.
Oh,
and I was so distraught. Like I was so mad for like a week. I couldn't even like I don't even remember playing after that for a while, just because I had lost that sniper. And like she was so good, and like I had ranked her up and everything, and she was just gone. It was sad. It was a sad day.
I know, man. So, and it's going to be intriguing, like the intelligence gathering. Like I wonder if that's going to be like a separate mechanic or like a separate thread for the story that you're going to do with like some different mechanics, or if that's just going to be like basic cinematic, or like how I forget which one it was, but in Mass Effect, like when you're in the starship, like you're doing the resources, and you would send probes. Like I wonder if it's going to be like that. You just send it, and then you have to wait for a time period, and then it gets your intelligence back to you.
Yeah, I'm wondering, or like in 3, they had like an app, Mass Effect 3. They had an app, and you could like, it would literally like your war map. It would like progress things when you were offline or whatever, and like it would help you in game. If it's where you can do something like that, that would be really cool. But I would think in this day and age where you could, if you do like the networking, the reconnaissance and everything, it would give you more information on like the next mission that you're going to. It's like, you know, they're going to have super battle droids here, so you need to make sure you have this, and like set you up for success. And then if it's like, oh, well, I didn't do reconnaissance, I didn't, you know, get the intel, and then
you got everyone on your team gets murked.
Yeah, and it's like you're setting, you know, either you're set yourself for success or, you know, failure, and, you know, tying that to like resources or time, where it's like, okay, you might not be able to level up your characters as much, but you might be able to do more reconnaissance, you know, and it might be something like that where they kind of play with that. I think that would be cool, because I think balancing resources and time within, you know, these turn-based games makes it much more challenging and more interesting. And I love that they're actually tying it to story, that it's not just missions that you're going on.
Correct. So, yeah, Zero Company next year. I know Zach's already got an anticipated game for next year already. We're not even halfway through 2025 yet.
Yeah, I like 2026 is going to be a good year. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't have to wait till next year to make it a good year. You can subscribe right now for more Nerd Cave News on your favorite podcast app, and on, of course, YouTube, where you're watching this right now. We got a ton of cool content that is coming your way every week, from regular streams to Nerd Cave News to Eat Sleep Anime. We've got a lot of cool things that are just for you. So go ahead, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe so you don't miss out on anything, and make sure to keep tune in on that channel every week, Derek. Every week. Now, this one was a surprise because we had a surprise drop this week. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion 5.
They've already put out Skyrim enough.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how many times can we do that? Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered is out right now. And let's take a looky-see at the trailer, because I haven't watched this yet, but I've seen people's character creations and all of that. So let's take a look. I love we got Patrick Stewart.
I know.
Unreal Engine looking sleek.
Right. It's almost like a brand new game. Giant mouse crabs? No, thank you. Mordor? Oh. Mm.
It almost feels like Skyrim music instead of like Oblivion.
I know.
I thought he was going to say, "Remember the Alamo." I want to ride a unicorn, Derek.
Well, I mean, they have horse armor DLC. I'm sure they'll have a unicorn skin.
Yeah. Man, I will agree with Escape there. It's like I'm kind of excited for the remaster. Now, yeah, I couldn't go back after Skyrim, but yeah, the monstrous characters people are making are crazy. But Derek, let's dive into some of the details for this.
So Bethesda has officially released Oblivion Remastered, a surprise launch that modernizes the 2006 classic RPG with significant upgrades, developed in collaboration with Virtuos using Unreal Engine 5. The remaster is now available on PC, PS5, and Series X and S, including Game Pass Ultimate. The game boasts 4K resolution at 60 FPS, updated textures, improved lighting, enhanced lip syncing, and a revamped third-person camera. Combat animations, character creation, and in-game menus have also been refined. Notable additions include a sprint mechanic and adjustments to the leveling system, making the game more accessible to modern players. The remaster includes all original DLCs, including such as Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine, along with other downloadable content. A deluxe edition offers additional digital content, including unique armor sets, weapons, and a digital art book and soundtrack. Despite the enhancements, the remaster retains some of the original's quirks, like the infamous voice line blooper from the character Tendilwi, which fans have appreciated for its nostalgic value. Oblivion Remastered has seen a strong reception with over 180,000 concurrent players on Steam at launch, making it one of the platform's top-selling and most played single-player RPGs. While official mod support is not provided, the modding community has already begun releasing unofficial mods, demonstrating the game's continued popularity and the community's dedication. And, they made it a point of emphasis to say like, oh, like people when they saw this trailer, they were like, man, this looks so good. Like it's almost like it's a remake. And Bethesda's like, no, it's a remaster, not a remake. We did a lot to it, but we didn't rebuild it from the ground up, and that's what we consider a remake. So we just pretty much improved what was already there, and just up-resed it on Unreal Engine 5. So tomato, it's two different R's, but the fact remains it looks really gorgeous, really beautiful. It feels, like I said, it's a fresh coat of paint on a game that I forgot came out in 2006. It's like, it seems like Skyrim has been such a point of emphasis since 2011 that you almost forget Oblivion is that much older. And again, I think it's bringing new life. And, I think this is, when we saw the rumors over the last month, like get hot and heavy with Oblivion Remastered is like, and a real thing, it's coming out soon. We both thought, okay, it'll come out maybe the summer, like it'll be like a summer Game Fest drop. And then they're just like, and it's out today. Like we thought we were going to get revealed and then it was going to release during Summer Game Fest or whatever. But then it was like the reveal and it's out that same day is crazy. Like no one saw this coming. But I also think it's a testament to, and when the comparison I'm going to make is, just bear with me because I know it's two different companies, but they've kind of had their own struggles. I think this is Bethesda's strategy, and I'll pose this as a question to you as well, Zach. Is I think this is going to be more so of their strategy going forward. Is because Elder Scrolls 6, it took so long for Starfield to come out. And then when it did, it didn't really live up. It was a good game, but it didn't really live up to the hype, the marketing that they did for the game. They're, boisterous, chest puffed out, like this is going to be the next one in our series that people are just going to go crazy over, like Elder Scrolls and Fallout. And some people have, but it's not taken the world by storm like the other two series have yet. But I think this is going to be their strategy going forward, is the remasters or maybe remakes, because there's now rumors picking up that a Fallout 3 remaster is in the works, or is already been in the works, but it's not going to. The latest rumor I saw the other day was it's not going to do what Oblivion did and just come out the same time it's announced. It's going to be a ways off. They still could do the strategy, but like I think when we get the official reveal, will still be months away, maybe next year sometime. Who knows? But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think this is their way of buying time for Elder Scrolls 6, because it it has been so long, and like, yeah, we've gotten several versions of Skyrim and everything, but Oblivion is a lot of people's introduction to the Elder Scrolls.
Correct.
And I know Morrowind is some people's, but I feel like Oblivion was the one that really got people into it.
Right.
And then Skyrim was the one that like skyrocketed it, to, just kind of ubiquitous to people
Right.
that like play RPGs and everything. So, having Fallout 3 getting a remaster would be amazing because I feel like that is the strongest title that they've put out in the Fallout franchise.
Correct.
People talk about it all the time. Is like, oh yeah, man, I remember playing Fallout 3 and like Megaton and all of that, and then New Vegas would be the next one in line.
Right.
But this is exciting. And seeing this, it's like, okay, they clearly, it's like they had another partner working on this so they could keep working on the other games. But I think that this is a way to push the franchise forward, get new people playing it. And when it has like 180,000 players on Steam, is huge. And it just says to me, it's like, all right, people love our games when we've let them just enjoy the world and not push, you know what I mean? It's like people really like it compared to like Starfield, where it just kind of has fizzled out over time and everything.
Exactly. So I'm looking up because Escape asked because
it's only digital.
Okay, I'm assuming they'll do a physical launch later, but I know like the one out today or the one that's out now will be is just digital only for the moment. But again, it's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you can just go ahead and get it right there at your home. Yeah. But the comparison I was making was, Bethesda, mainly Microsoft, but Bethesda is kind of the main target of this one. And Ubisoft have kind of had some bumps and rocky road over the last couple of years because Bethesda, I know it was Microsoft's final decision, but closed Tango Gameworks, laid off a bunch of people, so they needed some goodwill, and I think this is their way of doing that. Whereas Ubisoft is just like, we'll throw out Shadows, the Assassin's Creed that you want, but we're not going to do everything that you want with the game, even though the game is doing gangbusters at the moment. But still, while Ubisoft is continuing downward, I think this is going to be their strategy to gain goodwill back with the gamers, is doing these remasters of games that you loved back in the day.
Yeah, I think, like that, it is a good comparison that both of them have had their issues, Bethesda and Ubisoft, and you see like 76 turned itself around and people love it. And then the Fallout show like got people into the game even more.
Correct.
But Ubisoft, on the other hand, it's just been, it's like
they would just throw stuff at the wall and be like, let's see if this works.
Well, it reminds me of I think it was Foghorn Leghorn or one of those. It has like all the rakes and they just keep stepping on the rakes and it's hitting them in the face. That's literally Ubisoft. So I'm excited for them. My plan is to play this next Tuesday on stream and, check it out and everything. And I like that they haven't went in and changed a bunch of stuff in the game, that it essentially is like they've updated some of the combat animations and like the third, the camera on what was it, third person camera and everything. That's great. But like, the stories or, different things, like keeping some of the funny stuff in there that's, not necessarily intentional, but it has become part of the lore of the game. Yeah. That's the way to do it. Exactly. Don't polish that out. Like the imperfections make a game in the end, really. And some people's little glitches and all of that, people love.
Exactly. So it just is nostalgia too, like you said. Like, the fun, and I know more and more games are kind of doing this too, is like just putting those as Easter eggs in there. It's like, hey, remember this fun little glitch that everyone just had fun with, or like it became like an internet sensation? We're keeping that in there.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's time, everybody. Let's talk about
what you're really here for.
What you're here for, and that's Ghost of Yotei has finally got a release date. We're going to watch a trailer, and that's where we're going to find out the release date, everybody. So
strap in. It's about 3 minutes.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Sandman noise intensifies.
Oh, I like. Love the gold in there.
Yeah.
You gotta love when Sucker Punch's logo pops.
I know. It's like comfort food.
Ooh.
You're deaf. These are going to be the main villains you hunt down.
Ooh. He's not even wearing a mask.
Nope. Yep.
Stabbing a kid. What?
Yep.
Huh. Ooh, we got them leaves, bro. I'm already getting it. I'm already feeling it.
There's a reference in there that I'll address in a minute.
I want to do my lipstick like that lady.
Oh, so beautiful.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Woo.
Oh, I like that. We can stick our wolf on people. That'll be dope. Oh, that's her mom's, like, I don't know what it's called, but that's like her instrument. That's oh my gosh, that is heartbreaking in and of itself.
Yep.
All right, Derek, let's jump into the details on this one.
Okay, because we gonna talk about this for a good minute. Sony has officially announced that Ghost of Yotei, the highly anticipated follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima, will launch exclusively on PS5 on October 2nd of this year. Developed by Sucker Punch Productions, the standalone sequel introduces a new protagonist, Atsu, a female warrior on a quest for vengeance against the Yotei Six, a group of outlaws responsible for her family's murder. Some key details. The game is set in 1603 in the Eza region, which is modern-day Hokkaido, offering a more vertical and varied open-world environment compared to its predecessor. Players will have the freedom to choose the order in which they hunt down the Yotei Six. The game introduces new weapons, including Odachi, Kusarigama, and dual katanas, and features mechanics like bounty hunting and campfire building for rest and recovery. Atsu's journey begins with a personal vendetta, but evolves as she encounters unexpected allies and uncovers deeper purposes beyond revenge. Built from the ground up for PS5, the game boasts enhanced visuals, including massive sightlines, dynamic weather systems, and realistic vegetation movement. Pre-orders begin on May 2nd, with the standard edition being $70, while the digital deluxe will be $80. A collector's edition featuring Atsu's ghost mask and katana Suba will also be offered, though pricing details are yet to be announced. Ghost of Yotei promises to deliver a more mature and immersive experience, building upon the legacy of Ghost of Tsushima with refined combat and a compelling new protagonist in a richly detailed world. And before, like, they kind of buried it, but the whole campfire mechanic is supposedly what I read was you could build a campfire anywhere in the world and just
Really?
rest. Yeah. So that it's not tied to just like the camps like you find along the way or like the secret is. So apparently you can post a campfire anywhere in the world, supposedly.
That's pretty
But,
cool.
you know, I'll let you get to your thoughts here in a minute, Zach, but just my initial impressions, like the Yotei 6, you know, those were the ones. First of all, how gangster, you know, you talking about this dude ain't wearing a mask. That's how gangster he is. He's like, I got this whole squad with me. I don't care if you know my face or you don't. I don't need to run because I ain't scared of you. And I think I like how it also, like, because, you know, we had the whole tease with the wolf in the initial reveal trailer last year, and, you know, we see it on the hilt of her katana, and then we see like the reference like little wolf. I think so, like, you know how Gene Sakai was always like referenced with the foxes, you know, when he was little, like the foxes always came around him, he always played with them, and that became like a symbolic creature for Gene in Ghost of Tsushima. So I think the wolf will be symbolic for Atsu, but unlike, you know, the foxes just led you to the shrines, which you can upgrade your talismans or your charms. This, I think the wolf will actually play, like, as we saw, like you could stick the wolf on your enemies. But the whole, like, reading about the whole, like, oh, you can hunt the Yotei 6 in any order, that gives me Far Cry 5 vibes, because Far Cry 5, you know, the Far Cry formula was very like structured to where you couldn't reach all of the map until you progressed to certain parts of the story. But 5 changed that, and it's like, hey, you can go to the final boss technically from jump. You're going to get murked, but, you know, from the jump, you can just explore the world however you want to, fight the villains in any order you want to, and this seems to be doing this way. But obviously the one hindrance with 5 was I felt like the storytelling and just like how the cutscenes were structured suffered in Far Cry 5. But I think with Sucker Punch, you know, Sucker Punch tells a very compelling story. So I think that won't be an issue with this. You know, like, again, hunting the Yotei 6 in any order, I think will be game changing, because it's like, okay, yeah, and it also is like Assassin's, like the most RPG Assassin's Creed games, where you like I just take Origins. You're hunting your targets in whatever order you want to, essentially.
Yeah. Michael has a question. Was Far Cry 5 the religious one?
Yes, that was with the
cult.
Doomsday Preppers. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, dude, like, I'm excited. This game looks great. The having like a set villain, you know, and it's like you do have like a main villain and everything, kind of like I can't remember his name, but the Mongolian,
Lord
like
Saito. Oh, you talking about Ghost of Tsushima? Koten Khan.
Yeah, the Khan and everything. Like you kind of put all your hatred towards that guy, but now it's like you've got a group, and it reminds me of Red Dead Redemption, the first one, and where you had to hunt down the whole crew and everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of that, but these are the people that killed your family and everything. So you don't have as strong a connection, like familial with them, but you have a strong connection that you hate them.
Right.
But dude, it looks gorgeous. The environments look amazing. I can't wait to jump into this world. I want to see just a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
But
and we're going to get more. I'm assuming, I don't know if it'll be Summer Game Fest, but we'll get one more trailer before launch. Let's be fair.
Yeah. So this, in the timeline to Escape's question, this is after Ghost of Tsushima. So this is like
300 years.
Okay, yeah, it's several hundred years after. So this is like, because you have like muskets that you're able to use and everything. So a lot of different weapons that you're able to choose from and utilize in this. But even the different villains essentially in this, like, you know, the dragon, the spider, the fox, or what, I don't know if it was a fox,
the snake, the Oni.
Yeah, like having them have different weapons, which I think my favorite part of Ghost of Tsushima was like the big fights.
Oh yeah.
Where it was like super cinematic and everything. Like you would like go to these certain places and it would be like these master swordsmen or whatever. Like that was one of my favorite parts of the entire game, just because it felt it felt like a samurai movie. It felt like it meant something. Like it was just, I don't know. Like I remember there's one that's like by the water, like it's like down this cliff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like one of my favorite, or the one that had like the floating lanterns that you're.
Oh yes, yes,
dude, like so good. I can't wait to get into that and see like the allies that you meet, because the allies in Tsushima I feel were like such good components of the
oh yeah,
story.
they were as intricate to the story as like just your quest in general, and especially because they had their own branching side quest which you connected with them more. Like maybe Kenji not so much, but like with Lady Masako, with Lord who was it, Sensei Ishikawa, like their stories, because I feel like they were longer, and like the warrior monk, like all theirs like were more intricate, they were longer path, like you felt more connected to their, especially Lady Masako, like the twist
like
which
hers
happened, like with,
my god,
like finding out that her sister was the one that orchestrated her clan's, that it was pretty, her sister was not a great comparison, but the Itachi of her clan, essentially. You know what I mean? So, like finding that out and just seeing the angst and the turmoil, or like, and just like feeling that emotion with her as you're going through that her storyline, just made it feel more personal and made it feel like it was part of the story rather than just a branching side quest.
And I feel like that is one of the pluses in like the way Sucker Punch has set this up, is it doesn't feel like, oh well, I gotta go get my companions like their quest to be able to do. It's like you want to know, like the way they paced it throughout the game was so good. I love that. We got a comment over on the vertical stream. Artem, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce the name. Yotei looks like it's going to be very versatile game, not just choosing between honor like Tsushima, more choosing how to overcome the numerous main villains. And I agree, like you had like the ghost versus the samurai path, which I feel like was a cool dichotomy. And I feel like they could have done a little bit different with like the story,
because it felt like, and I think I know where you're going with this too, because I felt like, like you wanted to choose whether you kept to the honor, like tradition, like what your uncle imposed on you, versus the way to just save your island, which is what what was the one's name anyway, the thief, like that pretty much path. But it felt like as you kept going, like toward the end, it felt like you were going the ghost path no matter what at a certain point. So it didn't feel like that dichotomy, while it was great in the beginning, it felt like it just got taken away from you toward near the third act of the game. So, but again, hunting and like doing exploration and like the bounty hunting abilities, like apparently currency is going to play in a factor like certain things. And you can do these, instead of grinding out all these bounty huntings, like, okay, just do a few until you get what you need to go back to the story, and then you don't have to keep doing those said missions type thing. But also it's like they describe as like, oh, as the people she meets along the way, it's like, oh, she learns it's not going to be just about revenge anymore, she's learning other life lessons. So it's going to be that that Kill Bill type mentality in the beginning, but then I think it's going to basically, she's going to unharden her heart later down the road, as she's like getting, I'm assuming like probably halfway through the game, she realizes like, why am I really doing this? Like, yes, these people need to die, they're bad people, but it's like, what is my actual motivation? Like, am I really helping people, or like making this world better, or am I just basically causing more bloodshed?
I really want to know what the story, like we've got the setup now and everything. I want to experience all the gut punches, the wrenches, the high moments, like all of that. Like I want to hurt. You know what I mean? Just don't kill my horse. Just don't kill my horse this time, for the love of God. Killing my horse or my dog in a video game, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, if you kill that wolf, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be
exactly. And it's also, but hopefully you won't have that heart-wrenching thing. What was it, at the end of Act 2 with the brother? Where you get, so again, we're probably going to get some of that in this game as well, because Sucker Punch is not going to let up. They're like, oh, you really love that? We're going to make it even worse for you. We're going to make it really, we're going to really turn the knife in your gut.
Some would say they're going to sucker punch us.
Get out. But two other references I wanted to make, or just point out from the trailer. At the end, we get the tease of like her going back and like her like doing the whole thing. We got a little bit of that in Tsushima, but we got more of that. I think they fleshed it out more in the Iki Island DLC with his father. So I like that they're continuing this. I feel like this is going to play out more because, again, like you said, we're not going to have that strong familial tie like we did with his uncle. Like with Jin's uncle in Tsushima, like where that just progression and degradation of their relationship just continues to go down. So I feel like that'll be like the loophole around that to see like, oh, why, and it'll also explain like why the Yotei 6 targeted her family. Were they just bystanders? Like that wouldn't be a compelling story. There has to be some form of that there has to be some rhyme or reason why the Yotei 6 sought the family out and killed everyone. But the other thing I want is just like a anime tie-in, but it's also a historical reference. In Hokkaido, there is pretty much like what we consider here like a Native American tribe called the Ainu. That's big. That's like the lady she was talking to with like the smeared lipstick all across her mouth. That's pretty, like, the way I know that is I watched an anime called Golden Kamuy, which deals with like, it's like after the Russian-Japan war, and the soldier comes across like, it's a whole like hunt for, like there's this whole like, he comes across an Ainu girl and she's hunting people with these certain tattoos, or like finding out that there's people with these certain tattoos, that there was this whole like infighting dispute between the Ainu tribes, and like all the gold, like a lot of the gold got taken, but now it's buried. And now like these tattoos are like a roadmap to lead them to where the gold is being kept. So I like that reference because I spotted it because of the historical accuracy, because the people who did the anime partnered with the Ainu Culture Museum and wanted to make sure they were telling an accurate story of like how these people live, their ways of life, their culture, all that kind of stuff. So, and I know like the distinguished women in the clan, or like married women, smear that paint across their mouth to signify that they are like, that they're pretty much like the wise people, or like they're the cultured people, like the elder statesmen of their group.
That is pretty cool.
So yeah, I like that cultural reference. Like it was like the whole Leo DiCaprio meme where I saw that. I saw yep. I was like, oh. I understand that reference. So I feel like that's just cool. Like that, because I forget the game isn't this is taking place in Hokkaido. So that tribe would be there, and so it's historically accurate. Just a little historical accuracy geek in me.
Well, and I love, because Sucker Punch, they really care about the regions that they showcase. They literally, like, the people of Tsushima, like, have, like, they've seen a boon in like tourism and all of that because of the game, and recognized like Sucker Punch as, I can't remember what it was. It was like they did something to like,
it was probably some cultural accuracy or historical accuracy award, something.
It was like they were like ambassadors for Tsushima and all of that. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this, and see like this location and all of that get the love and care that it deserves and everything. That's super exciting. Over on the vertical stream, Artem, that's how I'm going to say it. He brought up, I hope they still have the multiplayer and expand upon it. Do you think that they're going to bring in Legends again? Because they did separate it as a separate game and everything later on, and like they did support it for a while. Do you think we get something like that this time around? Do you think it's at launch? Do you think it's like later down the road?
I feel like it will be a later down the road type thing, because and hear me out. It's the same thing with Naughty Dog. When they released Last of Us Part 2, they were like, everyone's like, oh, where's factions and all that? It's like, we're going to work on it. And then Sony, well, mainly, what's the idiot's name? Jim Ryan. Yeah. Stepped his foot in. It's like, oh, well, we need to make it live service. We need to change this whole formula. And it never saw the light of day. I feel like with this whole live service thing, like, I feel like it won't be a pack-in. It will be later, and if it is later, it's going to be after this wave of like live services like past this, and they put out great single player games. But also, I think they want to just focus on the story, and then like kind of like because Naughty Dog had the same approach. It's like we didn't want to split time trying to do the story and the multiplayer. We wanted to make sure we were telling a really great story in the beginning, and then give it the multiplayer a fair shake in its own time to focus on, and we'll release it later. I feel like Sucker Punch, if they do this. This is just me. I know Legends was great in a vacuum, but I feel like it didn't keep that momentum going to warrant maybe doing a second go around. I could be wrong, but they could still do it. But I feel like they're just going to 86 it and just not do it. But if they do, it's going to be maybe a year or so later down the road after launch.
Like I want to say, sorry, I'm looking up. I want to say that Legends like launched later though.
Oh yeah, no, Legends did launch later. It wasn't it was like maybe 8 months after release that they dropped.
Yeah.
Legends was a separate mode later on for sure.
Well, last 30 days, I know it's not a huge number, but they've had, it's more than Concord ever had.
Well,
last 30 days had 5,366.2 players. Last month they had over 6,000, which was up from February. And January had like 5,000 as well. So like there are people playing it. There are people that enjoy it. Like Escape said, I hope they do another multiplayer. I loved it. So maybe they will. It might be something, you know, that they do in between doing like a DLC, because it was kind of like they launched Tsushima, we got Legends, and then they launched Iki Island.
Yeah. So I feel like that'll be the same roadmap if they do it.
Yeah, which
we're seeing like different modes and DLC. Like they're giving more time, like because you know in PS4 days they would launch the DLC like Frozen Wilds for Zero Dawn launched like 6 months after the game, and then what was it? It was another game that released DLC like within like a certain time frame. But like we see like with Forbidden
Spider-Man.
West, yeah, Spider-Man was like instantaneous. It was like several months after, but we're seeing like with Forbidden West, like the Burning Shores DLC came a year after the game had released.
Yep.
God of War Valhalla for Ragnarok came about roughly a year after Ragnarok launched. So I think they're taking the time.
Had The Last of Us Part 2 got a DLC recently as well. Like the I can't remember what it's called now. What was it called? It was like you fought waves of people.
Oh yeah, but I get so, but you know, like they're wanting to take their time and not just rush out a DLC, because a lot of the DLC was like underwhelming. Like Frozen Wilds was good but not great. The Spider-Man DLC was good but not great. But you know, like I haven't played Burning Shores, but we both raved about Valhalla DLC, how great it was, and how it brought a different take to the roguelike genre. So
Iki Island, my dude.
Yeah,
like,
Iki
I think
Island
that's
was great.
Probably the best DLC I've played since Mass Effect 2.
Shadow Broker.
Shadow Broker, dude. Oh man, that was so good. So freaking good.
So, but the point is, like, they're taking their time with this DLC. So I feel like that'll be a good roadmap. Like, just don't rush it, you know. So if Legends comes like next October, and then the DLC the October after that, or however they want to do it, that's fine. You know, just take your time, make it great, make it something people want to keep playing.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Artem says Sucker Punch paid tribute through their game. Assassin's Creed, on the other hand, had destructible shrines, unfortunately. Yep. That's, you know, again, Ubisoft just fumbling the bag, you know, over and over and over again. But you know what you can do to not fumble the bag? You can go over to patreon.com/nerdcave and support the show, so we can be able to make more awesome content just like this one. So go over to patreon.com/nerdcave, become part of the ship, part of the crew. It helps us a ton out because, guys, we're a 1.5 person business. You know,
yeah.
we got day jobs, we got all of this, but we'd love to make more and more content. And the more people that go support us over there, the more we're able to do, and it helps us a ton. And that all being said, that brings us to the Patreon quick hits. Derek, take her away.
So first up, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 update adds a hardcore mode.
Hardcore.
Hardcore. Bungie doesn't expect Marathon to become Destiny 3, and players who aren't into PvP probably won't take to Marathon. Bionic Bay features Shuhei Yoshida as a playable character skin and has his own dedicated level.
He's full of grace.
He is full of grace. So
full of grace.
Fallout 3 Remastered is reportedly still planned, but it's still a while before we see it. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members can now stream certain games on their Xbox consoles. Phil Spencer reiterates support for the Switch 2, saying Nintendo has been a great partner. Niantic Spatial lays off 68 employees following sale of game business to Scopely. Skull and Bones to add land combat this fall as Ubisoft outlines Year 2 content plans. Ubisoft going to Ubisoft. Housemarque confirms first look at Saurus extended gameplay later this year. Lords of the Fallen update brings free Friends Pass and shared progression, crossplay, co-op, and more. Andrew Koji and Noah Centineo reportedly in talks to play Ryo and Ken in the Street Fighter movie. The Minecraft movie nears $750 million. Fortnite is adding Darth Jar Jar and Star Wars themed battle pass for its Galactic Battle season. Switch 2 accessory prices have gone up, but the console price remains locked in at $450. Star Wars Outlaws sets its Switch 2 release date for September 4th, so pretty much a year after the initial launch. And then Star Wars Outlaws DLC, A Pirate's Fortune, is out on May 15th. Mario Kart World Direct reveals new and returning courses and even more characters. Rumor, new PS Portable uses shader binary compatibility to run PS5 games, but they still might require patches. Rumor, Madden 26 release is set for August 14th. Sega is working on an Outrun movie with Michael Bay attached to direct and produce. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Hell difficulty mode is so brutal, only a few of its dev team have beaten it. PS5 was the market leader in dollar and unit sales in March in the US. Nintendo says Switch 2 GameCube controller will work with non-GameCube games, but there may be issues. Days Gone Remastered will let you slow down the game speed. Supermassive Games has reportedly canceled an unannounced Blade Runner game. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 English voice recording looks to have started. Nintendo quietly confirms cost of Switch 2 upgrades for Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Super Mario Party Jamboree could be $20 in the US. Almost all physical third-party Switch 2 games in Japan are game key cards, and it looks like it's a similar situation in the West. Lastly, Zach, another one up your alley. Frostpunk 1886 is a remake of the first game due out in 2027, and the dev insists it will continue to update Frostpunk 2.
I love Frostpunk. I started playing Frostpunk 2 right after my surgery. Not a good idea, Derek. I'll just say that. Not a good idea to try to play a video game right after you have carpal tunnel surgery. So I need to go back and jump into Frostpunk 2 and give it a fair shake, if you will.
The good old college try.
But why, Derek, I'm gonna just pose this to you. Why are we getting DLC for Star Wars Outlaws?
Because they promised that. They said, hey, we're going to do DLC for this game. I think it's a little bit longer than they wanted it to be. I think they wanted to put it out probably before Christmas, but I think with the poor reception the game had, with the stealth mechanics and all that, I think they wanted to work through those first before they did the DLC. But man, there's people out there playing Star Wars Outlaws somewhere, I guess, and they want to continue playing something, even as bland as the game is.
Yeah, I wished that would have been good, because we hit 2 games back to back. Well, I will say Sparking Zero was a much better
experience.
I enjoyed it more. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but it was much better than Outlaws. We've got an awesome year, guys. We got a lot coming out. We're going to be, enjoying some really good games this year, which I'm very, very excited for. Yotei looks great. Oblivion, we're going to be checking that out next week. next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, could be a part of that. And when Star Wars comes out, Zero Troopers, those people, we're gonna be testing it out.
But it all doesn't matter because come October 2nd, everything else is irrelevant.
Yeah, I was telling Derek earlier, I literally like opened up my request time off app, and I was like, okay, I'll take Thursday and Friday off to play this game. I haven't put in my time yet, but that is literally my plan. Is to
I say it's 6 months away, or about a little over 5 months away at this point. But just in case it gets delayed, Zach doesn't want to put a full commit in there just yet.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'll wait like 2 months out, and then I'll put those dates in. But yeah, I'm super excited. A lot of cool things coming down the pipe. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Nerd Cave Newz. We'll be back Tuesday for more awesome video game content, and Thursday, of course, we'll be covering all the video game news that you need to know. Thank you again for being here. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Let's go subscribe to us over on patreon.com. Help us support, keep the lights and the mics on, guys. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.